America, as we begin this election year, we must be clear. Democracy is on the ballot. Your freedom is on the ballot.
This is my video update on this Saturday afternoon, January the 6th. Let's talk about some news. So, happy Insurrection Day, everybody. Happy Insurrection Day. Boy, are they making an event out of January 6th. It's been, what, 3 years since the protests in the nation's capital? And you have to give it to the, you have to hand it to the Democrats and the permanent state. They are really milking this January 6th thing. I mean, they are really milking this sucker. Wow. So Dark Brandon made an appearance yesterday in at Valley Forge, and he gave a 32-minute speech. I thought he was going to give the speech today, actually, but he gave the speech on the Insurrection Eve. That is when he gave his big speech at Valley Forge. And boy, did Dark Brandon really come out guns a-blazing. Guns a-blazing for Dark Brandon. He really went after Trump in a big, big way. Actually, that's all his speech was about, was Trump. That's it. It was 32 minutes of Orange Man bad and MAGA bad. That was the speech. Nothing about his policies, nothing about what he plans to do if he's reelected, nothing about the direction of the United States and any of that stuff. No policy, nothing. It was just Orange Man bad, MAGA bad. That was it. But you know, he made it through the 32 minutes. I mean, he actually spoke for 32 minutes, and to be quite honest, there were not many gaffes. So, you know, I don't know what they're giving Biden that turns him into Dark Brandon, but whatever they're giving the guy, it's working. It's working, because when Dark Brandon makes an appearance, look out. Look out, everybody, when Dark Brandon comes out. Oh man, Dark Brandon. A lot of yelling, and then a lot of whispers, a lot of raising his voice, and a lot of whispers. He loves that technique. That's Dark Brandon's go-to technique when he gives a speech. So, oh boy, yeah. So he said nothing. He said nothing of value. Absolutely nothing of value. The whole speech was just meant to demonize not only Trump, but to demonize, I guess, half of the United States, right? Demonize MAGA, America first. That was the whole purpose of the speech. 32 minutes of Orange Man bad. And when the speech was over, Jill was so happy. Dr. Jill. She like ran up to Biden, like, you know, you made it. You made it. 32 minutes and pretty much no gaffes. She was so happy. She was so happy. And then when Biden like hugged Dr. Jill, he like turned to the crowd and he said, "I understand power." I didn't get that one. I understand power. That was weird. That was very weird. I don't know. I understand power because I'm trying to cancel the opposition. I don't know. What was Biden trying to say there? He was happy because he spoke for 32 minutes and didn't mess up, and he like turned to everybody and he's like, "I understand power." I'm Dark Brandon. What a weird speech. What a destructive speech. So much for the great unifier that they were making Biden out to be. I don't know. Maybe Biden is a unifier, But Dark Brandon is no unifier, that's for sure. He said a pretty huge lie during the speech, which, in my opinion, really stood out. He said that Jill and I attended the funerals of police officers who died as a result of January the 6th. What? 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 What are you talking about, man? But you know, there's going to be people that actually believe this, you know? There's going to be people that actually believe that him and Dr. Jill attended funerals of police officers during January the 6th. So he just says it. I mean, there's a reason that the scriptwriters added that into the speech, because they know that there's going to be a significant part of the population that's going to actually believe this. So he said it, and it's a lie, but it's Dark Brandon. Dark Brandon isn't a unifier. He's a divider. Bidenopolis? Maybe Bidenopolis is a unifier. He's Joe Bidenopolis, Greece's favorite son. He's a unifier, but Dark Brandon is no unifier. So yeah, that was a useless speech. What a useless speech. And Dr. Jill escorted Biden off the stage just to make sure that he didn't, get lost, right? Just to make sure. You lasted 32 minutes. Let's just make sure you make it off the stage. What a destructive speech. And all joking aside, a terrible, a useless speech, a destructive speech. Obviously designed to continue this Insurrection Day narrative. How does this help the United States of America? It doesn't. It doesn't. But there it is. There it is. So I was wrong about my prediction. Biden didn't bring up the axis of evil, but I'm sure he's going to bring it up in the next couple of weeks. Maybe today when he celebrates Insurrection Day. I think he's going to go to some war memorials. Maybe he's going to bring up the axis of evil. Who knows? Dark Brandon is unpredictable. We'll see who shows up. Is it going to be Bidenopolis or Dark Brandon today? So, yeah, he tweeted out, President Biden, well, his team posted on Twitter X, "You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-America." You can't be pro-insurrection and pro-America. I said yesterday it was an interesting choice for a location, huh? Valley Forge. Very interesting choice. But Biden put out that post on Twitter X, and a whole bunch of people, very prominent journalists and analysts, they responded to President Biden's Twitter X post with the photo of the painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware. A beautiful painting, an absolutely beautiful painting, which captures the moment that George Washington, an insurrectionist, I guess, fighting the British, an insurrectionist fighting the British when he crossed the Delaware River. And Sean Davis, in his reply to President Biden, said, "America exists because of insurrection against tyrants." That is what Sean Davis tweeted, of course, with the photo image of the iconic painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware. A painting by Emmanuel Lutz, which I believe is at the Met. I believe it's hanging at the Met. And it's not a historically accurate painting because on the boats, as Washington is crossing the Delaware, there's artillery and there's horses, and obviously that wasn't possible. But the painting is about creating the building the mythology of the hero that was George Washington. You know, everyone's trying to get across the river, and there's Washington standing tall, like above everybody else, above the elements, above the people as they're crossing over the Delaware. A fantastic painting, no doubt about it. I mean, look, it's no Hunter Biden, but but it's still good. But it's no Hunter Biden, believe me. Oh boy. So yeah, Biden speaking at Valley Forge, talking about those insurrectionists. Oh man. So you know, at least Biden, he didn't bring up Project Ukraine, and I guess that's a plus for Biden. Maybe Dark Brandon. Maybe Biden is interested in Project Ukraine, but maybe Dark Brandon isn't so interested in Project Ukraine. I don't know, but it does look like House Speaker Johnson is ready to make a deal with the Biden White House for the funding of Project Ukraine. According to Bloomberg, Speaker Johnson weighs talks with Biden on border as Senate stalls. Speaker Johnson demands a series of restrictive border policies. Biden Budget Director Young cool to direct talks with Speaker. So I think we're going to get to a deal as Congress gets closer to getting back on the job in the next couple of days. It looks like Johnson is signaling that he's ready to sit down with the Biden White House and figure out a way for the Biden White House to provide various border policies that the Republicans demand, to give a little bit on the border, and Johnson will give a little bit of money to Project Ukraine, or a lot of money to Project Ukraine. It depends how you look at it. 61 billion is a whole lot of money, but I guess when you're 34 trillion in debt, it's nothing. And I guess when you just print it out, when you just press a computer key and poof, you get 61 billion, I guess it's nothing. But it looks like the Republicans and Johnson, he's ready to make a deal. That's how Bloomberg is reporting it. So we'll see in the next couple of weeks if Johnson and the Biden White House do indeed sit down and do hammer out a deal on the border and on Project Ukraine. And the European Union, they're also trying to figure out ways to get 50 billion to the Zelensky regime. And Ursula von der Crazy, she was with the Prime Minister of Belgium the other day, and she said that the European Union, we've got tools. We've got tools to get 50 billion to the Zelensky regime. So if Orban continues to block the Plan A 50 billion to Ukraine, which is each member state of the European Union approving 50 billion from the EU budget to go to the Zelensky regime over 4 years, 50 billion over 4 years. If Hungary and Orban continue to block Plan A, then Ursula said that the EU is going to be moving to Plan B. And what is Plan B? Well, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. According to the Financial Times, Plan B is the EU providing a mechanism to bypass the Hungarian veto that would see member states provide guarantees to the EU budget, thereby allowing Brussels to borrow some 20 billion for Kiev. In other words, Plan B is Eurobonds. Eurobonds. EU member states provide guarantees. The European Union takes out a loan, and they give the money to Zelensky so that they can fund a conflict which has been lost. Seems like a very, very bad way to spend 20 billion, but so be it. The problem with the whole Eurobonds thing is that once upon a time, Germany, Finland, the Netherlands, they were very, very much against Eurobonds. And rightly so, because Germany, for example, didn't want to guarantee loans that the EU would take out and the EU would spend in whatever way they saw fit. But now, because of the need to fund Zelensky and to keep a lost conflict going, it looks like Germany, the Netherlands, Finland, they're going to approve Plan B. And today it's Eurobonds for Project Ukraine, but once they've opened up the Pandora's box and they've approved the idea of Eurobonds, well, that means that the EU is going to start taking out loans with EU member states guaranteeing those loans on just about everything. Green ideology, climate initiatives, you name it, the EU is going to start to use this Eurobonds mechanism to just start funding projects that it wants to pursue. So that's the problem with this Eurobonds initiative, but that's the direction that we're heading towards. So that is Plan B that Ursula von der Crazy is working on. We have tools. We have tools. Ursula von der Crazy. Seize, not freeze. So it's a stupid plan, but you're talking about the European Union, and since we're talking about stupid plans, how about we talk about stupid tweets, stupid posts on X? And boy, did neocon Nikki really outdo herself yesterday in a series of posts on Twitter X. Neocon Nikki, boy, did she posted some really dumb stuff. And I'm going to read you some of the posts that Neocon Nikki put out just yesterday. Just in one day, she tweeted out 3 things that shocked even me. And I'm sure it's going to shock you in their level of stupidity. But I guess Nikki Haley, I figure that she saw the clown world of the Year Awards, and she saw that she's one of the rising clowns for 2024, and I guess she's making a pitch to win Clown of the Year in 2024. She's coming out very, very strong in 2024. So here's the first tweet that she put out yesterday from Neocon Nikki. Ron DeSantis thinks supporting Ukraine is not a vital U.S. national security interest. He couldn't be more wrong. A win for Russia is a win for China. And about an hour later, she posted on Twitter X, Russia said once they take Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. This is about preventing war. We don't want our men and women to have to go and fight. What? What are you talking about, Nikki Haley? Russia said once they take Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next? Can you find that statement for me, Nikki Haley? where Putin or anyone in the Putin government actually said that once they take Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. But you know, Nikki Haley's script writers, the people that are managing her Twitter account, they couldn't care less about the truth or facts. They know that they'll post this on Twitter. And yeah, when you read the replies, 95% of the replies are just like, what are you talking about? When did Russia ever say this? Give me a citation. But you know, there's still that 5 or 10% of the replies which are like, yeah, you go, girl, you go, Nikki Haley. Thank God for Nikki Haley. Yeah, Putin said he's going to take Poland and the Baltics. You know, there's still a part of the collective West population that actually believes this. That's the problem. And that's why they put this stuff out there. Because they know that there's a significant chunk of the population of people that are actually going to buy into this nonsense, even though this is a flat out lie. I mean, it's a lie. There's no other. It's not even a. It's not a mistake. It's not, you know, oh, I messed up on the tweet. It's not. It's just a flat out blatant lie. Which I'm positive the military industrial complex, her neocon MIC handlers, told her social media team, you know, keep on pushing for escalation in Ukraine because we're making a lot of money, right? We're going to be getting 300 billion in Russian stolen assets, you know, given to us so that we can build imaginary factories in the west of Ukraine. So keep the escalation going, neocon Nikki. She is the preferred candidate, the preferred president for Republicans and for Democrats. You want to know who the permanent states, who the Republicans and the Democrats, I'm talking the permanent state, Republican and Democrats want? They want Nikki Haley. They want Nikki Haley to be president because Nikki Haley is all about war, censorship. That's Nikki Haley. And that's why they're all pushing for her. Russia said once they take Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. Okay. just say whatever you want, you know? Just say whatever you want, Nikki Haley. And then to top it all off is her tweet, which says that Israel is a bright spot in a tough neighborhood. It has never that Israel needs America. It has always been that America needs Israel. I think Nikki Haley's Twitter team messed up. It should say it has never been that Israel needs America. It has always been that America needs Israel. But anyway, a typo there. So yeah, that was the final tweet from Nikki Haley from a day of stupid tweets that her social media team put out there. Of which you look at all the replies from that tweet, and of course all the replies are like, well, if that's the case, if America needs Israel and Israel doesn't need America, well then, you know, why are we funding this war? Why do we have all our warships and all our resources in the area? That's what all the replies were pretty much saying to neocon Nikki. For example, Lauren Chen, she replied to this post from Nikki Haley, and she said, if Israel doesn't need America, why does America give Israel so much money? I mean, that's absolutely logical. That makes complete sense if you go by Nikki Haley logic. So, you know, the UK, seeing Nikki Haley's tweets, they were not going to be outdone by Nikki Haley's stupidity, the politicians in the United Kingdom. And they said, you know, Nikki Haley, hold my beer. If you think those tweets from Nikki Haley were stupid, well, the defense minister, the defense secretary of the UK, he said, I'm going to outdo the stupidity of Nikki Haley's posts. And this is what Grant Shapps tweeted out. The world has turned its back on Russia, forcing Putin into the humiliation of going cap in hand to North Korea to keep his illegal invasion going. In doing so, Russia has broken multiple UNSC resolutions and put the security of another world region at risk. This must stop now. Together with our partners, we'll make sure North Korea pays a high price for supporting Russia. Okay, first of all, Mr. Defense Secretary Shaps, compare the G7 to BRICS and tell me who exactly is isolated. That's the first point. Look at how Putin was treated when he visited Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and then look at all the collective West leaders when they traveled to the Middle East and how they were treated. And you tell me who is isolated. What flags fly in? For example, what were the people of Niger? What flag were they holding when they kicked France out of the country? What was the flag that they were waving? It wasn't a Union Jack, that's for sure. So yeah, that's Grant Shapps. Russia is isolated, and then he says that the UK is going to make North Korea pay. North Korea is going to pay a high price. Okay. Well, according to various reports, the military, the UK Royal Navy, which I imagine is going to make North Korea pay a very high price, they are looking, they're looking for an admiral to lead their navy, and they're actually putting advertisements on LinkedIn in order to fill the spot of rear admiral for the Royal Navy. Yeah, North Korea is going to pay a very high price once you fill the position of rear admiral. North Korea better look out. Oh boy, NATO state recruiting nuclear submarine chief on social media. The UK is scrambling to replace Rear Admiral Simon Asquith, the Navy's director of submarines. The UK Royal Navy has been forced to post ads on LinkedIn as it struggles to recruit a new Rear Admiral to preside over the country's submarine fleet, a move dubbed unprecedented and shameful by British military sources. And let me read you the advertisement on LinkedIn from the UK Royal Navy that is going to make North Korea pay a very high price for working with the Putin. The Royal Navy is recruiting for a director of submarines responsible for highly classified stealth, elite operations, and trident or nuclear deterrent. The Royal Navy recruitment ad said, noting that candidates must be a member of the reserve forces or have served with the regular forces. Oh man, that should be my clown world. This should be my clown world. Oh, boy. So Admiral James Stavridis, he posted on Twitter, Turkey blocking Royal Navy mine hunters is a misuse of the Montreux Convention. Mine hunters are entirely defensive. Their use allows Ukraine to keep its economy alive. As a NATO ally, Turkey should reverse course here and allow these ships to transit. So I talked about this story a couple of days. Turkey said no to the UK minesweepers entering the Black Sea. And here you have Admiral James Stavridis, Admiral, this is an admiral, saying that Turkey should open up the passage into the Black Sea. It's a misuse of the Montreux Convention. And this post from Admiral James Stavridis, it had a Twitter X community note attached to it. And then you have this reply from Big Serge. The Montreux Convention, which regulates use of the Turkish Straits, does not differentiate between defensive and offensive ships, and it allows Turkey to make any decision they see fit about passage if they feel threatened by the prospect of war. And that's pretty much what the Twitter community note also said to this post from Admiral James Stavridis. Admiral James Stavridis. So yeah, big surge is 100% correct. And Admiral James Stavridis obviously has no idea what he's talking about. Oh man. So let's do a pre-clown world before we get to our clown world. And this is coming from Arestovich, Zelensky's BFF, one-time BFF, now his arch enemy, his nemesis. He said in an interview the other day that Ukraine is not welcome in NATO and the EU. The country should recognize reality and start developing in its own direction. And this is what Arestovich said in this interview. Kiev should stop humiliating itself and end the illusion that it will soon join the EU and NATO, Arestovich said. No matter how much we want to join NATO and the EU, we are not welcome there. Arestovich observed that the price for even the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO was the start of a big war with Russia, adding that the same applied to other Western nations as well. The West is not ready to pay this price, he said. Ukraine's goal of joining a big union is unfeasible, and the only way out of this situation is to stop humiliating itself so that foreign and domestic policy issues will be handled in Kiev, not in Brussels, Washington, or Moscow, Arestovich said. Arestovich, what has gotten into Arestovich? Is this real, or is this just a ploy for him to get power because he realizes that Ukraine has lost this conflict, and so he's trying to position himself in a way that he will be the chosen one to take over as president of Ukraine? It's hard to tell at this moment in time exactly what Arestovich's angle is, but he's definitely pulled a 360. He's definitely pulled a 360 from the time when he was the spokesman of Zelensky, and he was Zelensky's BFF. Boy, was he spitting out a whole lot of propaganda back then. But you know, Arestovich has done a 360, and now he's talking a whole lot of truth. Anyway, let's do a clown world, and we'll wrap this video up. And on Ukraine TV the other day, on Orthodox Christmas Eve, they played a segment. They aired a segment of a bunch of gospel choir singers dancing at church, but they were dressed as demons and devils. And the song was about killing Russians and wishing very bad things on Russians. That was the song that they were singing as they were dressed in demon devil outfits on Orthodox Christmas Eve. This is what Ukraine television decided to air. So you know the West is Ukraine, and Ukraine is the West. This has been my philosophy now for about 2 years now. I've been saying this. I haven't mentioned it recently, but you know, the more this conflict drags on, the more you see that the collective West is becoming Ukraine, and Ukraine is becoming the collective West. And I don't say that in a good way. It's not a good way. It's not good for the collective West, and it's not good for Ukraine. But you can definitely see that Ukraine and the collective West are like, they've merged. They've merged on economic, corruption, political, censorship, society, legal. They're just, you know, the one's becoming the other. So yeah, we saw this during the Grammys, didn't we? During the whole like devil thing during the Grammys. So there you have it. There you have it. This is what Ukraine is copying. This is what they're mimicking. But I bet you the globalists, when they saw this, I bet you they were just like, I don't know, what's the word? I bet you they were very excited, very ecstatic, seeing this play out. You know, that for them, this was like a dream come true to see this display of worship, I guess, on Ukrainian television. Disgusting stuff. But you know, this is coming from an Zelensky government that hired or offered, what's her name, Abramovich, Marina Abramovich. They offered her like a job as a Ukraine ambassador, like a goodwill ambassador or something like that. Marina Abramovich. So maybe she directed this skit, this segment on Ukraine TV. Anyway, you had one more clown world. You had Mike Pence. He was in Israel, and he visited the IDF forces. And Mike Pence decided to sign a missile. He signed a missile. I think the missile said, the missile that he signed said something like "for Israel" or something like that. So that was the one-time vice president, the one-time 2024 presidential candidate. He has since dropped out, visiting Israel and signing a missile that is going to kill civilians, most likely. And people are like taking photos and, you know, I mean, oh boy, Mike Pence. And finally, we had the story from Visegrad 24, which is this, I think they're based out of Poland. I'm not quite sure, but they're like this like collective West NATO propaganda outfit. And they posted on Twitter, and they have a very big following, actually. They posted on Twitter that Gerasimov, the top commander of the Russian military, had been killed in Ukrainian missile strikes in Crimea the other day. And even Budanov, even AI android robot Budanov, when he was asked about this, had to say that he can't confirm this. It doesn't appear to be real, this factual, this claim from Visegrad 24, but they just put it out there. And so I think a lot of people are kind of wondering, well, why did Visegrad post this? Like, what's the reasoning behind them posting this nonsense just out of the blue? Out of the blue, Gerasimov was killed in the strikes against Crimea. What's the angle that they were taking with this post? And I think that Simplicius the Thinker figured it out. Here's what he tweeted. So that's why they made up stories about Gerasimov's untimely demise. And in his post, there is an article with the title, "Pentagon Keeps Austin's Hospitalization Under Wraps for Days." So did you guys know that Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary, he had an operation, from what I understand, a routine operation, though I don't know exactly what that operation was. But there were complications with that operation, and he's been hospitalized for the last few days. And not many outlets have been reporting this. This has definitely been kept under wraps. Definitely been kept under wraps. And it just came out the other day that Lloyd Austin, the operation did not go so well, and he's going to have to stay in the hospital for a couple more days due to complications from this surgery. I don't know what the surgery was, but you know, not many outlets are reporting about this. And so the very moment that the story broke about Austin, you get Visegrad 24 posting about Gerasimov. So I think that's why Visegrad 24 was directed to put out this post on Twitter X. So I think Simplicius the Thinker, he cracked this case. He figured it out. Anyway, that is the video, everybody. theduran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. And go to the Duran shop. 20% off. Use the code TheDuran20. Take care.